let's see. It's, when it starts, I will let you know.
It is live already.
It will take few seconds right now at the setting up. Okay, we are there now. I can give you the link for that in case you want to see it.
No, I don't need really.
Okay.
Just, so I am not disturbed.
Let me introduce Sami Aldeeb. This is Edip Yuksel. Today is the 1st of February 2021. February 1st, 2021. Today we are going to chat with Sami Aldeeb. Sami Aldeeb, his name perhaps is Sami Aldeeb, correct? Sami?
No. It is Sami Aldeeb.
Sami Aldeeb. He is right now in Switzerland, correct?
Correct.
He lives in Switzerland. His native language, as far as I know, is Arabic, then French. He knows English and few other languages. He's an impressive guy, and I have been in touch with you, or you contacted me first many years ago, about 15, 17 years ago.
Almost, yes.
Yeah, and he's a very well-spoken person. He's a brave person because he doesn't escape like many people in their ivory towers, or religious people or academics who are very arrogant. He's a down-to-earth, modest person. And in the past, I think first time he contacted me on circumcision, he was doing a research, Sami. Okay. And recently he has translated the Quran into a couple of languages.
Yeah, I can precise it. It is in French, English, and Italian. And also I did an Arabic edition of the Quran, annotated Arabic edition of the Quran. All of them are in chronological order.
Okay. Yeah. And we are in disagreement. I object to many of his interpretation, but he is a scholar. He is able to discuss his point, and hopefully we will next week, starting next week, we may have start discussion about our disagreements regarding understanding of the Quran. I have translated the Quran to Turkish and English. Turkish translation has been published since 1990s, early 1990, and the English translation since 2007. The English translation is Quran, a reformist translation, and I have also some colleagues together, Lace Salih Al-Shayban, Martha Schulte. Now, tell me about yourself. Introduce yourself, please.
In fact, I am a Palestinian, a Christian of Palestinian origin, living in Switzerland, have the the Swiss citizenship. I came to Switzerland in 1970, studied law, first law, then political sciences. I did my doctoral thesis in University of Fribourg about non-Muslims in Egypt, and worked in the Swiss Institute of Comparative Law for 29 years. Later on, I retired, and I created my own Center for Arab and Islamic Law. I taught also in different universities as a visitor professor. So in France, in Italy, and in Switzerland. that's all about me. I wrote about 70 books in various languages. Almost all my books are available free of charge, because I think the right of the readers are more important than the rights of the authors. Exception is accepted my French, English, and Italian translation of the Quran. You can buy all these books on Amazon, but if you don't have the means to buy my French, English, and Italian translation, you have just to write to me, and I will send you the PDF free of charge. That's all.
Okay. And of course, you do not believe in the Quran. You translate it as an academic exercise, or you want to let Muslims or Sunnis, Shiites learn about their book. What is your motive? For example, I translated the Quran because I know that the Quran is word of God, and I know that the Turkish translations before my translation had too many errors. In fact, one of my books before my translation was errors in Turkish translations, and also English translations have many errors. Rashad Khalifa's translation was the best, but with time I discovered some errors there too. Therefore, I improved that one, and I had a Quran Reformist translation with a lot of footnotes discussing why we prefer this particular translation instead of traditional ones. There are also philosophical arguments and also extensive comparison with Bible, Old and New Testament. Now, what is your motive?
In fact, you said I don't believe in the Quran. We have to explain this sentence you said there. I don't believe in any book, neither in the Bible, nor in the Gospel, nor in the Ancient Testament, nor the New Testament, nor in the Quran. For me, all these books are human books, written by human people. And I did a definition of the revelation. As you know, Muslims, Christians, and Jews believe it is the word or the inspiration of God to human beings. I say the opposite. It is the ideal of human beings on God. It is not the word of God to human beings, but the words of human beings, or say the lie of human beings on God. So I don't believe at all that there is a revelation for different reasons. This is the first point I had to make it clear. So please don't understand that I am attacking only Islamic concept of revelation. I also reject any concept, either Christian or Jews or Jewish or Muslim. Now, why I translated the Quran first in French. My first purpose was to use it in my books. As you know, I wrote many books in French, and I had to use French translation. And as you said yourself, you found in the different translations many errors. So I did the same. So I said, okay, I will do my own translation of the Quran. Plus, I had, in fact, to give a chronological order to the Quran. Why I do that? I remember when I have been in Cairo, 1977, I met Muhammad Ahmad Khalafallah, who is an Egyptian writer. And I asked him, how do you read the Quran really? Because I have a huge problem with the text of the Quran. I found it a confused book. He told
You have problem with the text of the Quran?
Let you just continue
Yeah.
my sentence. Excuse me, Edip. So I asked him, how do you read the Quran? The first time I read the Quran, it was when I was 16 years old. I took the Quran with me to the mountain to read it, and when I returned back from the mountain, I gave it to my first Muslim friend I met in the street, saying to him, I don't understand this book. We had a very small house, you know, just one room for 10 persons, and we did not have place for a library. So why should I keep a book that I don't understand? So I gave him to a Muslim. I told him, okay, I'll give you a gift from that. I bought that book in Jerusalem when I was 16 years old. Then I had to come back to the Quran when I was writing my thesis, because I wrote about non-Muslims in Muslim countries. So I had to know what is the Islamic concept, attitude towards non-Muslims. Then in that situation, I did a research for 1 year in Cairo, met Muhammad Ahmad Khalafallah, asked him, how do you understand the Quran? And he told me, you have to read it beginning with the end. I was surprised. What does it mean, beginning by the end? He told me that, in fact, the Quran is not in chronological order. This is why it is confusing. If you like really to understand the Quran in chronological, to understand the Quran correctly, you have to put it first in chronological order. I was very surprised because, to be honest, I never studied the Quran. I never studied the Quran in my life. So I said, okay, could you tell me where I can find some information about that? Oh, yes, I wrote just an article in a book about that topic. Go to buy it. So I bought that book, in which he, in fact, in one of its articles, he said that the Quran has to be put in chronological order. So I looked for a edition of the Quran chronological order, but I did not find any in Arabic. I just find a French translation of the Quran of Regis Placher in 1949, 1950. So I said, okay, I have no possibility to find a French translation in the Quran in chronological order, a new edition, so I will do it myself. Furthermore, I had also to add the variations. As you know, many terms have been read differently in different lectures, Hafs, Kalun, and others. So I bought a book on the variations, but there is no Arabic or English or Italian or French edition indicating the variations. So I added the variations to my French translation. Later on, I found that there is a relation between the Quran, the Bible, Ancient Testament, New Testament. So I added this reference in that. Later on, I found that there are abrogated verses, abrogating verses. How do you find it? So I indicated them in the footnotes. In the end, it became a book, not only translation. You have that the Quran in chronological order first, in Arabic, then in French in 2 columns. Then in the footnotes you have the relation between the Quran and the different books. Then there are the abrogations. Then the variations of the Quran. Later on, as I taught in Italian and in English, I said, okay, I will do the same. I will do an English and an Italian translation of the Quran in chronological order. And then a Catholic priest contacted me, asked me, what did you do for Arabs? What did you do for Arabs? You translated the Quran in French, in English, and Italian, but what about us? I told him, what do you like me to do? We need an Arabic edition of the Quran in chronological order with all the elements you put in the French edition. I told him, in Arabic, you can do it yourself. You don't need my help. He said, we cannot do that for the simple reason that the Arab countries will never allow such an edition of the Quran in chronological order with all these indications. And he convinced me later on to make an Arabic edition of the Quran in chronological order, to which I added other elements, including the linguistic errors in the Quran. Later on, people asked me to put just the Quran, the text of the Quran, and in other column, what are the linguistic error of each in each verse. So I did two editions of the Quran in Arabic, one with all the elements I indicated, and the other edition of the Quran only with the linguistic errors. And now people ask me, no, we don't need only that. We need an Arabic edition of the Quran with the sources of the Quran. So please prepare for us an Arabic edition of the Quran. And in the footnotes, we give you the source of every verse of the Quran, if there is any source in the Jewish or Christian or the sources, or even in poetry, in pre-Islamic poetry. So that's what I did, in fact, in Arabic, in my Arabic edition. Now, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? All what I wrote in my life was for me, never for others. I never write for others. I am a very egoistic person, you see. I don't think about others. I am not interested on others. I am not interested to convince anybody. This is not my job. I am not a missionary. I have no YouTube to convince people. All what I do is for myself. Why? I wanted to understand the Quran, so I had to study it. I wanted to know what is the situation of non-Muslims in Muslim countries. I finished.
Okay. No, finish.
I have no mission. I have no mission. All what I wrote, it's for me. This is my purpose.
Now, yes, I checked your translation, and I found your methodology. I know I may be a little bit using hyperbole, but little, not too much. I found that you were examining all previous tafsirs very carefully, meticulously, and Zamakhshari, Razi, and so many other, maybe Baydavi, maybe Jalalain, all those tafsirs. And then you were picking the worst ones for translation. You have very good expertise in finding the worst translation, and I am very surprised. Therefore, we'll have a lot of discussion on those. And of course, you have justification for why you picked the worst meaning.
No, Edip, you are making a mistake, a huge mistake. I tell you why. Because in fact, when I translated the Quran in French, in English, and Italian, I did not use tafsir. I never used tafsir. When I did the Arabic edition of the Quran, I used some tafsir for the errors of the Quran, because you have to find them there. And also for the asbab al-nuzul, the reasons of the revelation. I had to find them in the Islamic books. But in translating my the Quran in French, English, and Italian, I never used tafsir. I just used the dictionary. I compared the different versions. translation. I used more than 50 English translations, more than 10 Italian translations, more than 20 French translations. And then I relied on my understanding of the text of the Quran. But honestly saying, I never used the tafsir for my translations.
For example,
Yes.
I just come to my mind. We'll discuss, inshallah, next time some specific verses that we differ. Some, maybe some of them very important. For example, لَوَاحَةٌ لِلْبَشَرِ 29, verse 29, chapter 74. How did you translate? Do you remember your translation?
You know, I as told you, I translated the Quran in 3 languages. I am not a computer. I don't remember all what I wrote. I wrote more than 70 books, maybe 20,000 pages. To tell me, do you remember what you wrote on that line? Honestly, no, but I have them here. If you had asked me...
Yeah, I remember all my translations. If you ask me about the Quran, I translated into 2 languages. Any verse you say, ask me, how did you translate it? I will tell you how did I translate it. That's the difference between us.
You are a genius. I am
No,
not.
it is not. It is difference between the one who knows the book, the one who missed entire point of the book.
No problem.
I do claim,
don't judge me.
My claim is, my brother, my
Edip.
claim is that you missed the entire point of the book. Therefore, you did not understand anything from the book.
No,
therefore,
don't judge me from the first session. Don't judge me. You see, if you remember all your translations, it's good for you. I really don't remember, and I can add something else. I did 3 editions of the French translation, and every time I changed.
Forget about Quran translation, my brother. Arabic is your language.
Yes.
Now, لَوَاحَةٌ لِلْبَشَرِ, how would you understand as an Arab? Since you know Arab.
Look, if you like a precise verse, I have to open the book, my translation. How did I understand it?
Okay, inshallah, next time,
yes,
when we meet, we will have
just to tell you, Edip, just to tell you. Suddenly you spoke, you said that I used the tafsir. I used the tafsir when writing some books or many books on this or that verse, as the veil, for example, or beating the woman, or no compulsion in religion, and so on. And there I used more than 70 exegeses. More than 70. I even quoted all these exegetes. So that case, but it was not for my translation. So if you like to discuss a precise verse, you are welcome. You are welcome. Really, you are welcome. But you have to ask me this before the registration, so I can prepare the books by translation and tell you.
Inshallah, then
so we can be precise without say condemning from an issue, saying yeah. So take
next time, inshallah,
in bona fide, you know.
Inshallah, Sami.
Yes.
Sami,
yes.
I love your person. I think you're as a person. I have no problem. Don't take it ad hominem attack as in your person. I'm talking about your work, and I know why we have differences, and I know very exactly why we have differences. And I do pray to God that you will understand the moment, because there are 2 ways of looking at the book, my brother. One is as someone who is a skeptical person, very extreme skeptical person, or even as a rejecter of the book. The other is the one who witnessed the book and appreciated and these two perspectives can change dramatically how you understand the Quran.
I agree with you, Edip.
Yeah,
I agree with you. When you begin appreciating a book, when you begin believing in the book, you are no more a researcher for me. You are no more a researcher.
Just the other way around. For example,
this is my position.
Appreciation.
For example, you said the book, but I will put an S in the end of the book, because all the books, not only the Quran, but also the Ancient Testament and the New Testament, I reject them altogether. So don't think I am just rejecting the Quran. So I like your followers to understand I have no particular special position towards only Islam. I have position towards all holy books.
But you have, you might consider me, I have bias in favor of the Quran. I claim you have bias against the Quran, that very bias against the Quran, because you believe it is made up book by human being, that is a false book. Like
let me ask you to correct what you said. Let me please ask you to correct what you said. You said you have bias towards the Quran. Why don't you say you have bias towards ancient, New Testament, and the Quran? Not
all of them doesn't matter for me.
No, because the people who will hear us, they will think I am against only the Quran.
No. You are an equal opportunity critic of all those books.
Yes,
I know that.
This is what I wanted you. When you mention the Quran, please don't put me in a position only in opposition to the Quran. I accept no concept of revelation. For me, there is no difference between Ancient Testament and New Testament.
Of course.
The Quran and 1001 night. For me, all these are on the same shelf.
Okay.
So don't say only on the Quran. Don't speak only about the Quran.
No problem. Let me make the correction. Yes. Basically, your approach to all holy books, books attributed to God, is you consider them not from God. Yes. Therefore, you treat them as human-made. Yes. And therefore, in case you are wrong about one of them or all of them, in case this is your early decision, you made the decision about it when you approach the book. Therefore, this very approach could be, if that book is really extraordinary book, if it is a divine book, then your very approach, it will deprive you from really understanding it properly, because you will not give the benefit of doubt. You will always find it in a different level. You are reading in a human level. But I say, my understanding of the Quran is very different than you do, because I prove that the Quran, word of God, I am convinced based on reason and evidence and mathematical evidence. Therefore, when I see some verses in the Quran and I say, let me a little bit ponder on it before just reflexively reacting to it, say it doesn't make sense, and try to understand whether other verses explain that verse. Therefore, it brings, I am approaching the Quran with respect, with due care, try to understand it. You approach it with different manner. Thank you. Go ahead.
See, Edip, you said a good word, with respect. I respect every book. I respect every book, even 1001 Night. And it happened that somebody wanted to throw the Quran in the to destroy the Quran in a YouTube. I asked him not to do that, because I respect all the books. Now, your problem, when you consider the Quran or the Bible or the Ancient Testament or the New Testament as a holy book coming from God, and as you consider God is perfect, you will never put him in a question, because God is perfect. In that case, you close the doors. You closed all the doors.
Try to understand me, my dear friend.
No, but I wanted to continue, and I will give you the answer.
Okay.
For me, it is a human being, and a human being can make errors. But I don't jump on the error in the first case. No, I will say it may be correct, but it may be not correct. But if you consider it from the beginning, it is from God, you finished.
No, my dear friend, the issue is, if let me put the question this way. If you study the book with the skepticism, you study a book that claimed to be divine, and then you discovered extraordinary evidences proving the authenticity of that particular book. Please hold on. And then, of course, your attitude towards that book will change because you are already convinced beyond doubt that this is the word of God. Therefore, you become a student of the book instead of being a kind of critical professor trying to teach that book. If there is some point you don't understand, you say, okay, let me give time. I will understand. But I say if clause, if a book is word of God. For example, let me give you another example. When you study elements, chemistry, now you study as it is, and you respect the laws there, you try to learn from it. And you may come up with a contradiction, but you know that contradiction cannot be there because there is consistency in this world, in this universe. And therefore you say, I need to solve it. I need to learn more. Instead of saying, no, these elements are wrong. This chemical reaction should not be there because you don't like it or because you don't understand it. What we do as scientists regarding God's creation versus ayah in this world, we become students. We trial and error. We don't impose on them our preconceived ideas. We learn from them. We learn that we are wrong before and we correct ourselves. They are the teachers. Atoms and molecules are the teachers. The same with the book. If, I am saying big if it is proven beyond doubt with mathematical certainty that a particular book is word of God, your approach is 100% wrong. 100% is arrogance and contradiction. Contradiction because you believe that this is the book of the creator of the universe who created you, who knows better than you. And with your little understanding, you say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And tomorrow you will learn something else. This is arrogance. The attitude should change. My attitude changed. That's the reason, because I'm convinced. Kitabun marqum. How did you translate Kitabun marqum? I bet you mistranslated, because like many other, the previous Sunnis and Shias mistranslated the expression. Means a numerical book, Kitabun marqum. If you translate that one correctly, mashallah. But if you mistranslate it, because there is a between you and the Quran, there is hijab, there is wall. That wall is the wall of prejudice.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, my dear Edip.
We share the same name. We share the same name, Edip and Al-Edip.
No, Edip, it means polite. Edip in Arabic means polite. Al-Deeb means the wolf.
Oh, it's not Al-Edip. You are not Al-Edip.
Al-Deeb. Al-Deeb.
Oh, Al-Deeb. Oh, it's different.
The animal who had to eat Joseph.
Oh, okay.
So take care. I am a wolf.
MashaAllah. Okay, go ahead.
You are a polite person, but I am a wolf. You see. So take care when speaking with me that I am a wolf.
A zib. In Arabic, we say al-dhib.
But in the dialect, in our dialect, we say al-dhib.
My God, but I thought that you share the same name. I was feeling close to you. Now you are a wolf.
Yes, I am a wolf, but I am sharing with you humanity. And I appreciate it when you said my brother, Sami Aldeeb. Why I appreciated that? Because once I met in a library in Riyadh, a person who I went there to buy books in an exposition of books. And somebody with a great part like that, and a person came, he said, "You are not a Saudi." I said, "No." Then you are not a Muslim, maybe. Yes, I am not a Muslim. I would like to convince you to become a Muslim. I told him, but this is not the place. My brother, this is not the place to discuss it. I come just to buy books. You imagine that you are collecting all people around you to discuss whether this is wrong or not. And he said, "You are not my brother." I said, "Why?" He said, "You are not my brother." I said, "Why?" He said, "My brother is only a Muslim." Then I told him, "Okay, but let me say that you are my brother in Arabity. You are Arab as me, and we are brothers as Arabs." He said, "No, I reject that, because Arabity is polytheism, shirk. I accept that." I told him, "Look, consider me as a human being. We are brothers in human beings." He said, "No, my friend, there is no brother in humanity. This is a wrong concept. You are only my brother if you are a Muslim." And when you said, "My brother Sami," I appreciated your word.
I sincerely mean it, and I consider you as my brother. I will discuss with you, but at brotherhood, in terms of in equal rights, I consider you having the same equal rights with me. If someone bothers you, take your rights away. I am for your free speech, for your living in peace. As my neighbor, if you need help, I will help you, absolutely. But we will discuss this issue to the end, no problem, but it is not a source of animosity.
Yes, and this is why I told you, you are Edip, a polite person, which is in Arabic polite person. I am Sami Aldeeb, Sami the wolf, you see, but be sure, I never ate anybody.
Let me do.
Caution is good. Some caution is good, you see.
The verse that there is a verse in the Quran is mistranslated or misunderstood is إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Believers are indeed brethren. And there is a fallacy, the fallacy of accent. It is an informal fallacy. That is one committed in understanding or translating this verse. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Believers indeed are brethren. It doesn't mean other than that people are not brethren. The Quran calls everyone children of Adam, Bani Adam, the children of Adam. You are all brothers and sisters. However, let's say you have 3 children, 5 children, let's say, 2 of them fighting with each other. You tell them you are brothers. You are only brothers. It doesn't mean there are no other brothers. The other 3 are not your brothers, but because they have conflict and you are addressing them, it is called the fallacy of accent. If anyone is curious, listeners, please check that one. It is mistranslation, distortion of the verse.
No problem, Edip. What I will accept your feeling that I am a brother for you, whether based on the Quran or on the Bible or the Ancient Testament or the New Testament. But we are human beings, and you are my brother. That's all. Now, your interpretation of the verse, I don't agree with you, but this is no problem. There is no problem. This is not a reason to eat you. You see, this will not be a reason to eat you, you see. But in fact, I do not agree with.
We'll discuss, hopefully next week, I will send you a list of some verses that we should discuss. I would love to discuss with you, get your idea, your view to listeners, because those who listen to this one, they many of them disagree with me. Therefore, they may like your idea, your understanding, or your whatever your interpretation of the verse, or they may like mine. But I think if you like, how many verses I should pick? About 10 verses, the beginning?
It depends on that topic. Take that topic, whatever topic you like, and we will go profoundly on that topic.
Inshallah.
This is better instead of going all in all directions.
Okay.
I would like here to express my gratitude to you because, in fact, we discussed the first time about circumcision, maybe 15. But I have in my computer the exact date in which we discussed that, and I appreciated that because you recognized that. But I have to take the what you said in that time, and you said if I had known that, I would not circumcise my children. If I remember that, and there I appreciated your honesty. You accept to recognize that you may be in error. As me, I can be also in error. I am just a human being. I am just a human being. So let us fix an appointment for the next meeting together, and if others will comment on that later on, it will be welcome.